All right, we're talking about run defense, right? Yesterday it seemed to be the biggest issue.
Yes.
By the way,
was it?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, let me ask you this though.
Only if you want to be negative.
Okay, what was? Let me ask you guys. Let me ask you this, guys. Were you more shocked with the run defense or the Cowboys' inability even to move the football?
Inability to move the football.
They're both pretty surprising, but I still think the run defense being that ridiculously bad is still pretty surprising to me.
Yeah, I think the run defense, I understand.
But we knew it was kind of bad.
But they took it to new heights.
They did, but I was shocked that the offense was that inept because I thought you could take advantage of the Bills.
The film showed the offense was inept. It really did.
Like the numbers, we gave them the middle of the field for the Bills, bottom 3 team in the NFL when it came to coverage. You know, you should have been able to attack them.
You know what they did the middle of the field though?
Clog and cover.
Well, the thing with the safeties. Remember we were talking about what San Francisco, what Cleveland did when they played the play with a robber. So what they did was they made Dak. I've said this. It's funny in my notes. I went 4 and 5 under. They went fire zone. Fire zone is when you bring a blitzer. They only blitz 6 times, but we talked about it too in the pregame show. It's going to be corner blitz, safety blitz. That's what you got from the blitz packages from them. They dropped the safety down in the middle of the field to take away the crossers. So they made it 5 across, and then they'd make it 4 across.
Was a lot of that. It was post snap. They show like a cover 2, and then on the snap
and
ball,
then the snap drive it. Yeah,
wow.
yeah. So they did not want Dallas to attack the middle of the field. And then the one time that they did try and attack the middle of the field. Remember late in the game they tried to throw a ball down the middle to Lamb.
Yep.
And what happened is the Bills rotate. They go too deep. They go from single high to too deep. So Prescott reads the rotation, and then all of a sudden he thinks the middle is going to be open now. But what we've seen in the past, in a lot of with this offense, is their ability to have routes that affect other routes. And so what happens is, though, Cooks, Poyer, the safety for the Bills, usually a safety's affected by the vertical route of, say, Cooks.
Right.
Because Cooks is just blazing, and now the safety turns his hips that way and then has to adjust back. But Poyer didn't even do that. He saw what was happening with Lamb. So he comes, instead of flipping and turning his hips away to take Cooks, he totally disregards Cooks. It's like, nah, I've seen this one before. Ball's going in the middle of the field here.
Smart.
So all of a sudden now he's in the play and he makes it a contested play. But those are the kinds of plays that Dallas have been running all year long, where they've used routes to set up other routes and to get guys open space. In that case, Buffalo did not go for it at all.
Yeah.
So,
McDermott has done. I mean, the Dolphins are a team that like to do a lot of those in-breaking, like intermediate and deep routes.
Yeah.
And earlier in the season, they had more of their guys, their health, their Matt Milanos and stuff. But they were able to, I mean, they held Miami earlier in the season to like 20 points. Miami really couldn't do much of what they were used to doing. McDermott he's still got his fastball when it comes to needing to dial something up as a defensive mind.
Yeah, he did a nice job with how they played. They looked really comfortable with the way that their secondary was played. They weren't stressed at all in this game. Okay, I want to talk about one more offensive play, and then I'll get to the defense for the run game stuff. Okay, we had a sack by Russo and Dotson on the play, where they both got and this is where your guard gets beat.
Was it TJ Bass?
Bass gets beat off the line of scrimmage immediately. Schoonmaker then is struggling with Russo on the play, right? So what happens is Dowdle has to help pick up Russo on the play. So he's beat that quick, they're beat that quick. So he has to get the first guy that's there in the pocket. Well, what happens is Dotson's in coverage with Dowdle, and he's like, my guy just picked up a blitz or just picked up a guy. Dotson takes off rushing on his own. He blitzes that thing. My key's blocking. Now I can go rush. but all of a sudden Russo and Dotson go get home. Lamb on the play is open. I mean, he is open in the corner. They run a corner route, and he's open.
Is this the 3rd and 1 play action?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which we were like, man, Lipke just got it by an easy 4 yards.
Yeah.
Just put Hunter Lipke back over there.
Yeah, and all of a sudden now you get a sack of 10. So Prescott can't get the ball out on that particular time.
Yeah, the right side just caved in on you. Scooney, Bass, Steele.
It was, and Dotson, the linebacker, made a heads-up play. My guy's blocking. I'm just going to rush.
Yeah.
And then that causes the problem. Okay, I'm going to talk about the touchdown run that they had, the 24-yard touchdown run, and what happened on that particular play. And this is going to be a common theme when you get a chance to watch the All-22 yourself. You're gonna see this as a common theme. Here's how the play starts. Oso Odighizuwa gets doubled. Bell gets caught in the double team as well. So now they've got the combo block. They've got Osa. They got him taken care of, and now they're pushing him into Bell. So Bell's now in part of the trash that he's having to deal with. Clark gets kicked out by Dawkins. That's a puller. The tackle's pulling, so Clark gets kicked out by the puller. Curse gets blocked by Dawson Knox, the tight end. 1-on-1. Wanye Thomas's angle is super poor to the ball. He misses a tackle. Mozzie Smith had a chance that he just couldn't close quick enough, and he missed Cook in the hole. So the play starts off where Mozzie just misses in the hole. Cooks gets through the hole, and now you have everything I just talked about. Osa getting doubled, Bell getting caught up in the trash, Clark getting kicked out by Dawkins, and Curse getting blocked by Knox. That's the Cowboys playing run defense. That's them that day. That's every time you watch it, you're going to go, oh, okay, that's what happened. I don't think it was about physicality. I think it was about the scheme, and Dallas does not handle pullers and those guys that come off double team blocks well. They just don't.
Is that correctable?
It's
or with
tough.
the personnel they have now,
tough.
Is that just kind of,
you're giving ground.
Right.
You're giving ground to bigger blockers.
You're giving up a lot of weight and size.
You're giving up a lot of size inside. Okay, let me talk about this. Here's a ball at Parsons on a counter. Brown, the tackle pulls, and he gets just a piece of him, but the ball is already to the outside. Armstrong gets kicked inside. Clark late arriving outside. Thomas from safety makes the tackle. Gain of 17. Here's another one. Parsons gets blocked wide. Oso Odighizuwa gets blocked inside. Crease between the two for Allen to scramble. Nice close by Clark to make the play. Tackle for short gain. That was down on the goal line. At Parsons, he gets knocked inside. Curse is blocked by Davis. Wilson jumps inside. Bland with the force, a gain of 2. You can kind of see, okay, playing some better defense there, but with guys only giving a 2-yard gain. Another ball that goes at Parsons right here, because they're going to run the ball at Parsons. Here he goes. Ball outside of Parsons. The ball gets inside of him. Clark blocked by Ty Johnson. Osa gets hooked inside. Wilson reads pass instead of run and takes a false step back. Lewis managed to play off the block for the tackle. It's a gain of 9. You see what I'm talking about, guys?
Right.
I mean, it's like it's guys getting kicked inside, guys getting kicked outside, guys getting up on linebackers that are safeties trying to deal with pullers.
I mean, hearing Damone Clark getting kicked out by Teron Johnson.
Yeah.
There's no excuse for that, dude.
Not at all.
Yeah. Well,
but it was a collective effort of incompetence, right?
Yeah. Well, there was one time now. I mean, Parsons had a gain of 9 that Parsons wins against Morse, the center. He wins, but he's held. Okay, Parsons is not going to get a call.
No.
And he's literally tackled on this play. And
he bounces it outside, right?
Allen scrambles. Like, Curse is in the area, but he's moved through the coverage to Cooks. They release Cook, and now Curse goes with him. So now it's like last week against Philadelphia, where all of a sudden they move the linebacker out of the hole, and then they run the ball right there. But Parsons, he wins, and they don't call holding right there.
I think, what is that, 34 straight quarters now? That a holding call?
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, the stuff that he has to deal with. All right, one more here if I can. Do we have time at the end of the day?
At 4, we can circle back.
I'm going to circle back because I want to talk about what Dan Quinn tried to do by playing a slant front. Dan does some things. I mean, he tried he tried. Now, there was what we call the neutral box with 7 in the box. That's
as many defenders as there are blockers.
Yeah, that's they went neutral box. They had 10 opportunities against neutral box. James Cook running the ball yesterday. 10 attempts. 4 of the 10 attempts went for 10 yards or better.
Oof.
In that.
Yeah.
They had a 70% success rate. That's 4 yards or more on the run. 70% in that neutral box. Even when they went stack box, averaged almost 5 yards a carry. Stack box 8+.
So you have extra defenders in the box to slow down the run.
8 rushes for 39 yards, 4.9 yards a carry versus stack box.
Wow.
Yeah, nothing was working for you.
Bad angles, getting washed.
Nothing.
Yeah, your defensive tackles getting blown off the ball, and then they were running right at Marquise Bell. They knew, hey, this is an undersized
Clark,
guy.
Bell, Curse, Parsons.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't discriminate who they were trying to run against yesterday.
So, and you've seen this too, Brian. We get a lot of people texting in and asking 877-881-1053. Parsons moving off ball linebacker.
That doesn't help you there. I mean, to me, like they having him. Okay, if you want it, they still were getting guys up on the second level. They still were driving defenders into linebackers. Parsons playing off-ball linebacker, yeah, fine. It's if the ball goes away, and there were some most of the balls were going away. So, I could see, but to me, Buffalo didn't care. I mean, you're one of the best defenders in the National Football League. They took the ball at. So playing off-ball linebacker, okay, you're putting a bigger body back, sure. But to me, having him at the point of attack, because he beat the center one time, he got held. I'm trying to put Micah Parsons in as many situations that he can to make plays.
Well, when he's on the edge and they can just leave him unblocked and he's rendered useless on a lot of those plays, I would have liked to see them move him inside a little bit more because he
played a couple times.
Havoc. Yeah, a couple times. He should have done more of that, man. You set him on the edge. They just know, okay, we're going to run away from Parsons. We'll leave him unblocked, and he will be rendered useless. They'll run at him. But more often than not, they're just running away from him and saying, we're not going to block you, and you're not going to be able to do anything.
Right. I mean, when we haven't seen that many games where it's just, man, a team's just not going to throw the football at all because they don't have to. They're running the football so damn well on you because he was definitely successful rushing the passer. But the question I had last night was the last time we did see them play him off ball, which was the Giants game where they won by 20 to 30 points. He was vocal and frustrated and ticked off on social media afterwards. Like, how much does he really want to do that?
For sure. And that's definitely a bummer that that's sort of his mindset. But even if that's the case, you mentioned him should have drawn the holding call, but he's wreaking havoc there in the middle of the defense, and it's a run play. It's not pass rushing. Right. It's a run play where he can at least try and do something. Because when he's on the edge and the Bills know, okay, we can just run. We can run at him or away from him. Either way, he ain't doing anything here. They should have adjusted.
Here's one. They ran a toss play to the right. So they went toss right. They crack Parsons on the edge. He spins out of it, though, but he's not going to get there.
Yeah.
Clark reads pass first, steps back. He's late to get to the ball. Curse gets knocked wide. Gilmore, no force. Gain of 7. They ran a toss sweep his direction, and they got 7 yards out of that. They crack him on the end. To me, but they're going to find ways to block him. I mean, you're not going to let him, whether you play him as off ball or play him on the line, you're going to find ways to block him. That's the thing to me that I'm like, playing him as I would rather put him at the ball. I think that he has a better chance if you play him off the ball and he's having to run and take on, maybe. But I think it's when he has a chance to be at the point of attack, he's probably a better player.
Hey,
I agree, line of scrimmage. But yesterday on the edge, he was useless.
He didn't have the opportunity to rush, right?
Yeah.
But 903, interesting question, and I believe this was asked yesterday during the post-game show. We just didn't have time to get to it. But and granted, Sam Williams has had some bonehead penalties, but he's also somebody that they've struggled to get on the field at times. Would you look at Sam Williams as maybe trying to slide into a linebacker role? Because he's got a little bit more size, and we know he's a freak athlete.
Yeah, I don't know that he would be someone I would trust to be able to understand where to be in so much of being a linebacker. Like physically, I think he'd be
and
more
we're
than
seeing
capable,
that with Damone Clark,
taking
right?
on blocks and stuff. Yeah, but so much of linebacker is cerebral and knowing where to be and when to be there. And I don't know that you could just take a defensive lineman by trade and in the middle of the season,
I think it's a tough ask.
Just throw him in there.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think.
I don't know the schematics part of it and need to ask this question, but I wonder if it would be better if they played a 3-4 front. If they played with 3 down linemen, and then now you find a way to get guys like Sam Williams and others and Lawrence involved. I don't know if it's something that you could do to play better run defense.
Well, I think based on matchups like yesterday, that's something that might have been able to help you. I mean, I think it's not very fair to just say, hey, Dan Quinn, just keep running out your nickel guys when they're going heavy and they're going an extra offensive lineman.
Yeah.
There's got to be something you can do here. Bring in another defensive lineman. Get a little bear front going.
Yeah, maybe some bear front.
You
that's
don't
what I'm
have
saying.
to just sit there with safeties as linebackers and say, well, this is just sort of all we got. This is what we do. So even though you've got heavy personnel, an extra offensive lineman in here, you're running on us at a historic rate. This is just what we do. I think Dan Quinn was absolutely awful yesterday.
Yeah, and certainly he's been a guy that's made great adjustments during his track record here, but yesterday you didn't see him. You didn't. And that's asking to lose, running when you've got 22 heavy personnel going up against your nickel and dime packages. It's just it's a bad matchup.
I understand what you're saying about him having a bad day yesterday. I think his adjustment was, I can't play toe-to-toe with these guys. I can't play toe-to-toe. And we talk about moving and slant in the front. He didn't have answers yesterday for how they were blocking him. He tried to keep his guys out of harm's way, and it didn't work. It just didn't work with his front. Because, like I say, we'll get into, and I'll tell you, like as I go through, and I broke down every single play that they ran where they ran slant front. Line slants left. Golston, Osa Odighizuwa stays square. Golston plays off block. Thomas helps with Phil. Gain of 2. Okay, here we go. Playing a little slant front. Maybe this is going to work now. Next play, slants the line to the right. Good across the board, except Wilson on the edge gets fooled to the inside, which gives up the corner. Cook bounces the ball to that side. Evans makes a tackle from the inside, gain of 8. Okay, here we go. The next time, line slants to the right. Osa wins, but can't adjust back. Parsons gets blocked. Bell trapped. Williams and Clark miss tackles. Gain of 12. Slant right. Clark and Curse get trapped inside. Ball bounces outside. Clark laid along with Gilmore for the tackle. Gain of 4. It's just his idea was, I'm going to try and move this line and see if I can create a negative play. And they just couldn't.
It's probably smart to do with their quickness, right? That's their advantage. They're quicker. Yeah. But unfortunately, they got blocked, and they weren't. It was sticky rice out there.